Guys, this is the general reading. It's going to go from the 24th through the 30th. We're beginning with 29, Forget It, and Romantic Dinner. And Spirit says, try again. Sex and party. I'll also try again. If that try again is for you, like first you don't succeed, try again. It came up again. So yes, twice. And then no. With the cards, we are beginning with the Page of Cups. An offer of love, something that puts a smile on your face, nice text, letter, call, just something that makes you feel good. Good news, even in the area of work or your social life. Doesn't have to be romantic. Something going on with your family. All of that can be why the Page of Cups is showing up here. And maybe it does have to do with finances and or something of the material. Page of Cups is possibly a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces that is in your life as well. I'm going to throw him in here and shuffle a little bit. Two of Cups. Three of Cups. Celebrations. And there we have it. The Eight of Wands in reverse. This is delays, messages getting hung up, travel plans getting hung up, things not necessarily happening behind the scenes as they're supposed to. Maybe even behind the scenes they've come to a standstill. And this is probably because guess what occurs this week on the last day for which this reading is. Dun, dun, dun. Mercury Retrograde. Yes, Mercury Retrograde comes to you this week. Mercury has been in shadow since the 14th. I think I've mentioned that a couple times. It goes full-on retrograde on the 30th. Because it goes retrograde in Aquarius, I talked about it being in Capricorn fairly recently. Some reading I did had been in Capricorn recently, then moved into Aquarius, where it is now, where it will go retrograde. And because Aquarius rules things like electricity and technology, so like your computer, your phone, travel plans, all those things very possibly can go awry. Our overall energy today is going to be the Emperor. Major Arcana card 4, the Emperor in reverse. Who's behind the Emperor? It is the Chariot, also in reverse. Interesting. And Major Arcana card Strength, also in reverse. We do have full moon in Leo this week too. And I've been seeing things and talking about that for a while too. Maybe like a month or two, talking about the full moon in Leo. And it came up in a few of the yearly forecasts that I did. If you haven't seen the yearly forecasts, I will put a link to them in the description and try to make sure that people are aware that I did those. Because I have people that subscribe to me that can't even find me on YouTube. It's that bad. Major Arcana card 1 also here. Look at all this Major Arcana that ended up. Do you believe this? Y'all saw me shuffle, all cut into 10,000 different little piles. Look at all these Major Arcana cards. What are the odds? Seriously. The Emperor, the Chariot, Strength, the Magician, Justice, and the Fool, followed by the Ace of Wands upright. So it at least seems to be good news ultimately. But some things, again, may be at a standstill, may not be moving. Something having to do with the government may not be moving as swiftly as we'd hoped. Travel, as I said, may get hung up. You may not be living up to your fullest potential with the Strength in reverse. And that would be the same thing in the case of the Magician in reverse. Yet, justice moves, continues to move swiftly. And this Fool in reverse is often connected to that Aquarius energy of, yes, I want to be in a relationship. Yes, I want to be married, but I also want my freedom. Yes, I want a good job, but I also want my freedom. Yes, I want to, whatever, be a part of this group, but I also want my freedom and the fight with those things. All right, I'm gonna get the stands. And as always, we will be pulling for specific cards for the week. General energy for the week is the Page of Cups is back. Very nice. Isn't that cool? Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers. 3 of Pentacles in reverse. Work, finance. 4 of Wands, also in reverse. And love and relationship, Major Arcana card, Judgment, in reverse. Okay, so the Emperor. He is a representation of the planet Mars and the signs of Aries and Scorpio, which Mars rules. Could definitely be a Scorpio in that is significant to a bunch of us this week between the Emperor, the Page of Cups, and Judgment. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit more in a moment. First, the Emperor. This can be a real person in your life too. It's not a court card. I mean, obviously, it's a major arcana card, but it often is a representation of somebody older or some sort of authority if it's not yourself, in terms of getting control of your life or needing to get control of your life. Then it is often like an external, source, and this person is often older, male. And if not older, maybe more mature, again, an authority figure. So like your boss, your father, or father figure, your mate, someone who that you're dealing with that has been married before, is maybe a divorcee or a widower, or has kids, so they're like, their life is perhaps different than yours, more stable, more homey, secure in that sense. But another meaning of this card, especially in consideration of the Page of Cups being the card that is, like most directly representing us this week, can be that we're like giving our heart more, we're legitimizing our heart more than our mind. Like we're giving our heart more credence than our mind or logic. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? That can be a good thing. But I guess ultimately, especially on these, spiritual journeys, we're always made to understand that the best possible situation is balance, right? So a balance of listening to your heart and listening to your head and listening to logic. But maybe this week we're just stricken by something, by positive emotions and endorphins, and we just want to be happy, and nothing wrong with that either. And that could be brought on maybe by some of the other stuff that's going around in the universe. There's some things on the planetary calendar that may be contributing to that. On the Christian calendar, there's a feast day for Mary on the 24th. Of course, it's the 24th, right? 2 plus 4 equals 6, right? The number is 6. There's feast day for Mary. Our Lady of Peace is this week. And on the Jewish calendar is to be Shabbat, which is basically the celebration of the new year for trees. So that's a positive thing, and maybe just people just want to feel good this week. We don't have to contend with the Mercury Retrograde until the very end of the week, Saturday. So maybe that's what it's about. I don't know, but in any case, in a general sense, it can also mean that an older man, speaking of an older man, maybe even specifically a dark-haired older man, is getting on your nerves this week somehow, or he manages to get on your nerves somehow. He doesn't have to be an Aries or a Scorpio, but quite possibly so. And if he has anything positive or like informative that you feel might be helpful, then at least consider what it is he has to offer. And don't use what you feel is not meant to be used. And try not to get too irritated if you feel like he's trying to tell you what to do. Just take the parts that you feel are beneficial to you, if any, and throw away the rest. What are you going to do? Don't let him ruin that again, positive mood that we seem to be in terms of work, we might not be in the mood for structure, in terms of traditional work this week. And of course, some of us may not have a choice. Whatever your job is, you have to do it to the best of your ability. And then maybe if you can get some sort of break in, if you can take mini breaks during your day, or make sure that you take your lunch break, don't work through it this week. Get some rest when you do get home. Don't, overwhelm yourself or push yourself too hard when you have an opportunity to chill. And in terms of love, um, organization could come up or lack thereof, or maybe you're interested in somebody who is like a neat freak and you're sloppy, or vice versa. That can be the case with the emperor. Or maybe somebody that's older than you, sort of, again, authoritative, methodical, set in their ways. And or again, vice versa. Maybe you're the emperor for one, and the other person is the loosey goosey one. And it's about compromise if you're interested in making the relationship work. So moving on to the Page of Cups. Again, this is a super positive energy, and it's a signal to like allow the childlike, parts of ourselves to go ahead and come forward and to have fun and to, be joyous and to be at peace and all those things that I was feeling we might want to be, even looking at the emperor, which is not, it's not really the feeling you necessarily normally get looking at the emperor, but I felt his connection to the Page of Cups for us this week, and it does feel super positive. It's just uplifting and encouraging, and it can be about news like that you receive, and it can also indicate that someone, maybe someone younger than you, is going to be coming your way with a message for you, and again, likely a message that'll make you smile or feel good. It's good news. It's happy. It's positive. Could be your child. Even, puts a big smile on your face. Mommy, I got an A. In general, this card is about like daring to dream, in love. Again, a younger person maybe, or somebody, I don't want to say less mature, but maybe more youthful if they're not younger in terms of number or age, fun loving. They could somehow be part of your romantic situation, your situationship, or your scenario. And just remember that love isn't about age. It doesn't know nothing about age. Age, how did Leah say it? Age ain't nothing but a number, and throwing down ain't nothing but a thing. So keep that in mind. Maybe we'll name the video that. Depends where the rest of it goes. But sex already came up, so I might go that route. Yeah, don't just discount somebody because they are younger, like purely on that basis. It's very possible that is going to be the scenario. Again, with the considering the emperor as the overall energy and the page here as this. So maybe we're the youthful one or younger one, and we're coming into contact in our love life with somebody older, or again a bit more methodical and set in their ways and structured than we are. Moving on to the Three of Pentacles. This is a super positive card. And for me, it's about abundance that's earned, and usually earned through some sort of actual work on our part, effort on our part. If it's not work in the traditional sense, like in, you went down to your job and you earned a paycheck, you put some other energy or effort into something that resulted in you reaping some sort of, reward, award, abundance for having done so. It's like a direct compensation for that effort. And it often does have to do with questions about work or career and things like that, or relationships with people that we met through or at work. In general, in reverse, it still is about this thing, but it's about again making sure that we do put effort into stuff and not trying to be like slick and take an easy way out of a situation, or to settle for less just because that requires less of us. Be conscious of that this week. And maybe specifically with work, just make sure that you're not slacking off, or doing any inferior work, like work that is less than what you normally output. People are expecting you to give them what you typically give them in terms of results. with your work. Any money or anything that we come by this week will likely be commensurate to our work, or to some sort of effort that we have put forth prior. So moving on, it's a nice segue actually to the work and finance card, which is the Four of Wands this week, because it pretty much means the same thing. It means that things are going well, but that doesn't mean that just throw out the hard work and sit back and say, I don't have to do nothing. No, effort is still required on your part, particularly when this card is in reverse. Um, Keep up the good work, and again, don't slack off. Any compliments that come your way, be sure to accept the credit where appropriate. A lot of times we don't acknowledge that, yes, I did do that good work. Thank you for recognizing that, that was me. I appreciate it. This card guides us to make sure that we're doing that this week. And it could be so that somebody else doesn't try to be slick and take credit for what you've done and then get rewarded for what you've done. In terms of finances, pretty much the same thing. But the Four of Wands in reverse can also be about surprises and stuff that come your way. So maybe something unexpected, still likely connected to work based on the Three of Pentacles also being here. But maybe something that you didn't realize you were going to get a bonus for, or a tip for. You didn't realize the tip was going to be so large that the customers loved you that much. And, it's something like that. And then, boom, here it comes, but you've earned it. And lastly, speaking of earned it, maybe I should call it that. You earned it. Like the weekend says. Judgment in reverse, or judgment period, for me is also a card that's about abundance earned, similar as to what I said about this Three of Pentacles. And specifically with regard to love, it can definitely be about like a make or break moment. We realizing that we've come to a crossroad, and we got to figure out which way we want to go, if any. Maybe we don't want to go at all anymore, together, and this is the end of the road. That's something to talk about too, perhaps. The people in our life, not just our mate. If there could be other people sometimes in your situations. It's not just my man. It's my man and his child and his other baby mama, and it's all that kind of stuff, or sisters and brothers, or mothers and fathers that are sometimes up in the mix. And this card can be about not only you, but the people around you or in your situation, or something going on with the process. It is changing. And it's important to not try to, hold on to the way things have been or the way things are, right? To cling to the status quo, and to, just let go and allow for the change. Maybe your, I don't know, sibling is going to move out of the house, and you are going to have your own room for the first time. Obviously I'll be speaking about somebody pretty young. You're going to have your own room for the first time, and things are going to be different. Maybe you deciding you wanted to change it up and make it, more your own and more adult, or whatever it is, or what, so that you can welcome company, whatever the thought is. Some things are changing. Go with the flow. Don't allow yourself to be stuck, especially with regard to love. If you're single and looking, if you've had your eye on somebody specific, Judgment in reverse says that a new relationship between the two of you may very well come about in the near future. You might want to wait until Mercury retrograde is over, or hopefully maybe your relationship can get started before Mercury retrograde begins, because it doesn't have to be the case, but a lot of the time relationships that start during Mercury retrograde don't work out. My son and his girlfriend started dating during Mercury retrograde, I think 2 years ago, and they're still together. So it doesn't always happen that way, but I've seen it go left many a time too. Lastly, for those singles and singles in general, meeting somebody, slow and steady wins the race when Judgment in reverse is about. As a matter of fact, that makes me want to pull another card, because I say to myself, slow and steady wins the race, and I think about the Knight of Pentacles. Let's see what the next card is. It's not the Knight of Pentacles. It's the Queen of Cups, also in reverse. Queen of Cups most directly correlates to the sign of Scorpio. So that could be who is significant, again, or perhaps a water sign is particularly significant. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. But again, this is Scorpio and this is Scorpio. Judgment and the Queen of Cups, most directly. So maybe that's with whom we're deciding that we've come to a crossroad. Or the Queen of Cups can be showing up here because she is, like one of the most loving cards in representative of actual emotion showing up, and also reminds us to pay very close attention to our intuition and our instincts, our gut feelings and things, our heart also when we're making our decisions. And she can also remind us of the importance of like doing what's best for us, nurturing us while we're busy nurturing, everybody else. Like I said, there could be other people around you, and we could be trying to consider their feelings and how the changes are going to affect them, and and not really paying attention to how we feel. Queen of Cups shows up to sort of remind us to do that. So now I'm going to clarify these cards again, all of them, not just the love card, with my Keepers of the Light Oracle. I wanted to pull out an oracle. I was moved to pull one out that I know contains a Mercury card, the god Mercury, in light of Mercury Retrograde. So I got the Keepers of the Light Oracle cards out. We're beginning with Joan of Arc and Voice of Truth. Stand strong, focus on your purpose, release the fear of persecution, and speak your truth. And I think this is very Mercury, right? Speak your truth, the voice of truth. That's like the Ace of Swords. It's very Mercury for me. Behind that is Cthulhu and the Cloak of Wisdom. You already know the answer you seek. Trust what you know. So again, this is trusting your instincts, maybe particularly in love. Facing fear of clinging to stuff, or fear of letting go. Also could be attached to the love placement over there. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. I definitely think Judgment is attached to major spiritual changes. So the same way I did before, I'll just throw the cards that we looked at in here and we'll do a quick shuffle. Okay, open to Joan of Arc again. Radha and the Soul Flame. Odin, Psychic Insight. And let's do one more. It is Diana, Focused Intention. Diana, focused intention. Think about what you desire. Set your sights high and expect the best possible outcome. And the next card behind her is Lady Venus, but she is in reverse. So I'm going to pull 4 cards again. Most directly representing us this week, Commander Ashtar. Call to action. Take charge and lead by example. Walk your talk. That actually sounds more Emperor than Page of Cups. But it could definitely be within terms of like communicating from a place of love. Maybe you'll be the initiate. You'll be the one that decides to pick up the phone, or, to call or to text or email or knock on somebody's door. I don't know how they're going to like that, but you get the idea. Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers. The Shekinah, sacred self. Unleash your spirit, express your gifts, and dance to the sacred rhythm of life. This is the dove. It's the peace sign. I just thought about Mary again, that her celebration, the Queen of Peace. They're trying to tell me something about the Queen of Peace. I'm not sure. There could be something on Sunday connected to close friends or family members. And if there is, whatever the situation is, I'm just getting like, don't allow yourself to like, just shrink back and shrivel away when, family members or friends are around and they have, their advice and things for you, and you just sort of melt and don't stand up for yourself. This is about you feeling free to express what it is that you want and what makes you tick and what makes you happy, and not being limited by people around us. So I don't know how many of us will have a situation or scenario like that this week, maybe particularly Sunday, but I just got that. Work and finance. Lady Portia, divine order. Do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. So, like I said, we may not feel like doing things in an orderly fashion as it relates to work or the traditional way this week, but just try to do your best in doing that and go with the flow. It will be rewarded. And last but not least, love and relationship. Light activation. Shine your light. Your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. So that's the internal guidance that the Queen of Cups wanted us to listen to. Again, pay attention to those instincts and the intuition and the messages that come through. I'll pull one more. And it's similar. It is Paul the Venetian. Experiencing grace. Share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. Hope you guys have enjoyed the general reading. Those who'd like to stick around, I'm going to go over what's going on during the week now from all of the calendars. Let's pick up my laptop. Turn it on. Got some sites here. All right, so beginning with the Christian calendar, as I've mentioned a couple times already, the 24th is the feast of Our Lady, Queen of Peace. Followed by, on the 25th, Monday, the conversion of Saint Paul, the Apostle. That's the feast day. And there are a couple of other feast days this week, but we're only going to talk about those two. So, beginning with Our Lady, Queen of Peace, I just went to www.wikipedia.org. Our Lady of Peace, Mother of Peace, Queen of Peace, or Our Lady, Queen of Peace, is a title that the Blessed Virgin Mary in the Roman Catholic Church has been granted. She is represented in art holding a dove and an olive branch, symbols of peace. Her official memorial in the general Roman calendar is on July 9th in the Universal Church, except for Hawaii and some churches in the United States, where it is kept on January 24th. Our Lady of Peace is the patroness of the Congregation of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary religious order, which was founded by Peter Caudrin in Paris during the French Revolution. When the congregation of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary was established, the Catholic Church in Hawaii, they consecrated the Hawaiian Islands under the protection of Our Lady of Peace. They erected the first Roman Catholic Church in Hawaii to her. Today, the Cathedral of Our Lady of Peace in Honolulu is the oldest Roman Catholic cathedral in the continuous use in the United States. There are 3 famous statues of Our Lady of Peace located in Paris and Honolulu. The original is a wooden carving located at a convent of the Congregation of Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary in France. A larger replica in bronze was hoisted above the altar and sanctuary at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Peace, while a third stands on a pedestal outside the cathedral. The original statue of Our Lady of Peace was ceremonially crowned on July 9th in 1906 by the Archbishop of Paris in the name of Pope Pius X. Every July 9th since then, the Congregation of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary have celebrated the Feast of Our Lady of Peace. During the troubled years of World War I, Pope Benedict the 15th, another six, added Our Lady of Peace to the Litany of Loreto, a sacred prayer in liturgy. And moving on to St. Paul, the Feast of the Conversion of St. Paul. I went to a website with which I'm not even familiar. It is called faith.nd, like Nancy David, .edu. And we'll see how it goes. Feast of the Conversion of St. Paul. St. Paul has one of the most dramatic and famous conversion stories of all time. Saul, as he had been named, was born a Roman citizen in Tarsus. Paul was highly educated and a Jewish man who was trained in classical disciplines such as rhetoric and in the strict observance of Mosaic law. Paul was a zealous Pharisee and had returned to Tarsus before Jesus began his public ministry in Palestine. In fact, Saul was so zealous about the law that he persecuted Christians because they departed from it in their following of Jesus. He was in the crowd that murdered St. Stephen, the first martyr, and violently persecuted other Christians. He would drag Christians out of their homes, shackle them with chains, and throw them in prison. He asked permission to round up all the Christians in Damascus and to march them in chains to Jerusalem as an example. On his way to Damascus, he was surrounded by an intensely bright light. Light activation, right? The light was from heaven and was struck to the ground. Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? A voice called out. Who are you, sir? Saul cried out. I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. And we can find that in Acts 9 of the scriptures. Saul was converted at that moment, and the Lord instructed him to go into Damascus, where he would be told what to do. Saul got up, but realized that he could not see. He had been struck blind by the vision. He was led into the city and sheltered there until a Christian named Ananias was told by the risen Lord to find Saul and lay hands on him and heal him. Ananias had heard about this Saul and was reluctant, but he followed Jesus' instructions and laid hands on him. Immediately, something like scales fell from Saul's eyes and he regained his sight. Saul was baptized and changed his name to Paul, and almost immediately began preaching in the synagogues that Jesus was the Son of God. He went on to make missionary journeys through Southern Europe and Asia Minor and converted many, especially among people who were not Jewish. 14 of his letters are preserved as part of the New Testament. Paul was killed in Rome by beheading, the method of execution for Roman citizens, which is why he is often depicted with a sword. Where's the sword? Oh, it was Joan of Arc that had the sword. He was also often depicted with a sword, and they have a picture of him here. It says, as he is here. His relics rest in the reliquary chapel in the basilica, including part of the column where he was beheaded. His conversion is depicted in a stained glass window there. St. Paul, apostle, whose encounter with the persecuted Christ changed the course of his life and Christian history. On the Hebrew or Jewish calendar, we have Tu B'Shvat, as I mentioned. That is on the 28th the same day as Mercury goes retrograde. And Tu B'Shvat is a Jewish holiday occurring on the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Shvat. It is also called Rosh Hashanah La Ilanot, which literally translates to New Year of the Trees. In contemporary Israel, the day is celebrated as an ecological awareness day, sort of like Earth Day, and trees are planted in celebration. Lastly, the planetary calendar. So, on the 26th, January 26th at 9:12 a.m., Neptune, ruler of the sign of Pisces, will be square the true node, which is Gemini. So both Neptune and Pisces and the true node will be at 19 degrees. January 27th at 12:56 a.m., Pluto, ruler of the sign of Scorpio, maybe that's why all the Scorpio stuff showed up, will be biquintile the true node. So Pluto will be 25 degrees and the true node will still be 19 degrees. January 28th at 2:16 p.m., we'll experience the full moon in Leo, 9 degrees Leo. And lastly, on January 30th at 10:51 a.m., Mercury goes full-on retrograde in Aquarius, 26 degrees Aquarius. And for that, I have gone to www.tarot.com, Mercury Retrograde in Aquarius. When Mercury goes retrograde in Aquarius, not only will communication and travel get chaotic, but we can also expect an added dose of mayhem when it comes to our technology. After all, Aquarius rules electricity, technology, and the internet. So when Mercury goes retrograde in this sign, it's possible that we'll experience extra frustration with mishaps in these areas. To avoid making a purchase that leads to regret, hold off on buying any new electronics until after Mercury goes direct. But there's an upside to Mercury's retrograde through Aquarius too. It's a time when our most innovative ideas will go through an overhaul. If we've had any out there thoughts, this is our chance to reassess them before we reveal them to the world. Our most powerful dreams and inspirations may come up for review, and we can use this transit to discard what we know is no longer working in our reality. Again, I hope that you guys have enjoyed the weekly reading. Please do like, share, subscribe, comment. I do try to respond to every comment, whether it's a statement or a question that I receive. When subscribing, please hit both the subscribe button and the bell button so that hopefully you'll receive a notification when I put up a new video. It often does not work though, as I have mentioned, but please do it anyway. I appreciate it. Namaste.